Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. We are the Beatles. I'm Charmaine Marie,
I'm Brian Weedle.
and we've been in the middle of a series called Seven Lessons from 7 Years in Marriage.
Yeah, no problem. So let's recap a little bit. So first lesson is we are not the same. The second lesson is
Marriage is what you
marriage
make
is what you make it. That's right. So the third lesson
Yeah,
is understanding roles in marriage.
yeah.
Understanding your role in your marriage. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. So when I know this can be a little tricky and sometimes somewhat controversial, but here's what we believe. As her husband, I am the leader of this household.
Mhm.
As my wife, as the woman, she is my helpmate. Now, helpmate is not lesser than the leader of the household. It's not a lesser or greater thing. It just means we have different responsibilities
Right.
and we know where those responsibilities lie.
Mhm.
Yeah. So as the one who is leading the household, it means that I have the responsibility of making sure that we are going whatever journey we're going on, we are prepared for. Where are we heading? Where is the legacy? Where do we want to lead our family into? How do we want to raise our children? Stuff like that.
Mhm.
Having those ideas and having those conversations with her so we can come to an agreement as to what we want to do and where we want to go.
Mhm.
As my helpmate, she's here to help me with those things, get those things done, execute some of those things if I'm not able to execute some of those things.
Right.
So we're here to work with each other,
Mhm.
help one another,
Mhm.
but we just have different responsibilities in the roles that we are, and that's what we do.
Right. And to build on that, haha. Okay, right.
Build.
The truth is, and especially, I mean, for persons who do know me or do know of me, I am a very strong personality, right? And I remember hearing somebody in the past tell me, they're shocked that I'd be willing to submit or whatever, right? And I found it very interesting because, I mean, my very strong personality actually has nothing to do with my respect for the roles in a household, right?
In a marriage.
Yeah, in a marriage, right? Because the truth is,
Yeah.
society has told us that as an independent woman, the submission is like playing like a doormat kind of a vibe, and we've almost downplayed the significance of the housewife. We've downplayed the significance of the nurturer, the woman who is able to nurture in the household and help out a man to build and stuff, and they both lead the family together. And yes, as Brian said, it's not a lesser than or a greater than and stuff, but at the same time, we understand that the decisions, the book's off with him, because of that level of respect. So in the midst of this and being raised as a little Miss Independent and stuff, I've actually found solace in the fact that I don't have to make many of the final decisions, and the fact that my husband is willing to listen to me. Because I know that there are many other dynamics where the woman is not listened to, and she might not, and she's not comfortable voicing her opinion because of how she's treated. So we have been able to build a dynamic where Brian hears me and Brian respects what I say and stuff like that, and is willing to say, all right, cool, yo, let's go with this or whatever, or actually say, yo, no, we're actually doing this, right? And I'm actually fine with it because I get to actually, and I hate saying this phrase because I think it's overused, but I feel good being able to sit in my feminine energy. I feel good just being able to, say, hey, I love to cook and still be an entrepreneur, but I actually really love doing stuff around the house and building that and actually cooking for him, making sure that he's taken care of and stuff like that, and taking care of our nutrition and all those things. And so I think, as much as society has taught us to somehow run from the traditional roles, quote unquote, there is space for it, especially biblically, for us to see the value in the traditional roles And even if we're tweaking it a little bit and stuff, we don't need to put ourselves in a box. And I appreciate, and that's something we had to learn
Yeah,
to just navigate for us.
yeah, and especially because, and I want to pinpoint this to the men, like especially as you said, it's not just about me, the book stopping with me, and that's
Yeah.
it. That's it. Like I have discussions with her
Yeah.
more often than not. She wins. Her ways win more often than not, and not because I'm afraid of her. Not at all. You see how big I am?
Whoa,
Anyway, but not
whoa.
because I'm
That got
afraid.
really physical real quick.
Whoa.
Mighty. No.
Not because I'm afraid of her, not because I feel like I'm gonna make a dumb decision, but because I care about what she thinks.
Yeah.
I care about how she feels. But I go to the point of being a leader. You need to hear the people who you are leading. You need to understand and know where they're coming from. What are their ideas? What are their thoughts? Before you come to a big decision. Because if you come to a decision that you alone like, and you alone think is fitting and will work for everybody, when it fails, remember you hold that decision,
Oh my.
and there's nobody else you can lean upon to say, but we made this decision together. You did not. And there have been times where I have made decisions that I didn't console her on that failed completely. And then when we had the discussion, I realized, if I really just spoke, if we really just had the discussion, it would have went better. Yeah. So it's not about, don't just take this box stop with me as a thing of like, yeah man, after saying your website, Robert said the box stop with me. No, it means as a leader, you consult, you prayerfully make decisions, and then you say, all right, let's work with that. Whether the thing, and this is where you have to take out ego, because whether the thing is what you want, or you're doing it because what she wants. Because sometimes maybe what she wants is not gonna work, and you don't want to disappoint her. But the reality of it is like, it's not gonna work. And sometimes the thing where you want is what you want personally, it's not gonna work. But you feel like, if me tell her, say we are going for your decision, it's gonna feel like, you see, you should have listened to me a long time. No, that's not what it's about. It's coming to the decision that makes us better and us stronger at the end of the day.
I love that you said that, because I was going to say, because you said earlier, most times, she wins kind of a vibe. And I really wanted to say that it's not even about winning or losing.
That's true.
Yeah. It's really, because the truth is, winning, if I win, quote unquote, we both win. The household wins and stuff. And just like, if you win, we both win. So it's really also a mindset shift where we're not competing with each other like
we're not keeping scores.
Olympics. It's really about trying to make the wisest decisions that will benefit our household and benefit our growth. And allow us both to be able to still express ourselves and stuff, and stand firmly in what we believe.
Also understand that each role comes with its own set of pressures. I kind of let me go back to that, the book stop with you thing. That's still pressure, guys. Men, that's still pressure. And if you know, that's still pressure, because when you do make that decision and you live it through, if it fails, it's not the end of the world, but that's pressure. Because you're gonna be like, Jano, how comes? Why we never do this instead? Whatever. But that's pressure. And also on my wife's part, her role, her responsibilities, that's pressure too. That's not necessarily pressure just from outside, but like internally, like she has, where she feels like she's not putting out enough, or she feels like she's not doing her part enough and stuff like that. That's pressure as well. So they both come with their own pressure, their own weight. And so therefore we should do our best to appreciate each other's roles, so they don't, no one feels left out, or no one feels like they're not understood. You understand?
No, and I agree with that, but I feel like I want to even jump a bit further on that,
Mm.
where because I mean, of course, the lesson is understanding the rules in your marriage.
Yeah.
When I focus on us as individuals and as a whole as well, we are also very unique persons and we
Mm-hmm.
have unique ambitions.
Mm-hmm.
And so, with me being, well, we're both entrepreneurs actually. And with us being entrepreneurs and with Brian especially being involved in quite a few things, um, the truth is the pressure gets worse.
No.
You know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
because
yeah,
even when you
yeah,
were mentioning the whole thing of wondering if I'm putting out enough front of it, that's a very real conversation that, you know, we've had at different points where
yeah.
I've asked, you know, how he's felt. Because the truth is, most of the time I'm thinking also about my businesses
Yeah.
and trying to do them better and stuff like that. So sometimes I do get hyper focused in that,
Mm-hmm.
and then I don't want to be ignoring, you know, the home because I'm supposed to be nurturing the home.
Yeah.
You know, and as much as I've become even more invested in how this home operates and stuff like that, the truth is, like, it's a lot to split,
Yeah.
right? And as much as we don't have kids yet and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
like, it's still a lot already, you
Yeah.
know? So what does that look like now with adding kids to the equation, you know, things like that? So that's just an example of one of the pressures, you know, trying to show up as a wife, show up as a homemaker, show up
Mm-hmm.
as an entrepreneur, show up as all of these things, and to make sure that everything is properly served. You get me? And to make sure that we are still in sync and we're still feeling comfortable and we're still feeling loved from and supported by one another.
Yeah.
So as you said rightfully, like, there's a lot of pressure overall in terms of the traditional roles, but with us in our marriage, you know, it has been interesting trying to navigate how we still pursue our ambitions and stuff, or remain ambitious, I should say, while still, you know, carrying out certain roles. So sometimes, yeah, sometimes there are overlaps, and sometimes there are not. You know, like, we really highly go off seasons, ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
You know, and we have been, yeah, we've just had to navigate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, you know, with what you just said, I feel like a good point to make is that your roles should not be determined by tasks.
Right.
Your
Yes.
roles should not be determined by
That's
tasks,
powerful.
because as she stated, you know, just a brief history. I came in knowing that, so yes, we're both entrepreneurs more now, but Charmian has been a serial entrepreneur.
Mhm.
She's always been in the place and mindset that, you know, 9 to 5 is not her thing, and she wants to execute, and she's more of an executor. Versus me, I'm thinking more before I execute, and sometimes that takes a longer time to execute than her. She'll just execute, do the thing, fail at it, but and then succeed at it after that. Whatever, it works, ebbs and flows, and so it does. At different points, it has meant, you know, realizing that, okay, I might not get the traditional woman, per se, traditional woman who is always cooking, washing, cleaning, all of that. It may mean I might have to, as a leader, step into some of those things, and do some of those tasks. It did not change my role, but I realized, okay, this is putting a lot of pressure on her, and so to try and relieve pressure, maybe for a season or for a time, let me wash. Let me do my part and wash up the plates. Let me do my part and wash some clothes. And let me just add this to my list a little bit for this season, and have that discussion. Because and why you also want to have that discussion is because maybe you're a person, you want to know the time, like, when will this end? When will you get back into a flow that you can do some of the tasks that we would have said from maybe early out, or had the discussion like, okay, you'll do this, I'll do that, whatever. But different seasons might call for different things. And as a leader, you have to know when you're able to, when you should, like, step in and say, let me take on this task for you while you settle there. And as a helpmate, you have to know when to step in for your husband and then say, I see the pressure you're going under.
Right.
Let me do this for
Yeah.
you. Let me whatever, because there have been seasons, I'll say straight up, where Charmian has been willing to get into regular 9 to 5 work in order for me to not feel the burden we may have been going through financially at that time, to assist in that way, because maybe things aren't going the way we want it to go. And I've seen that from her. Or she takes up extra tasks to say, let's try to just relieve you from having to do this because I know how much you're already trying to put out.
Right.
And so it didn't change her role.
Right.
Right, in that regard, it just changed the task that she
Right.
was doing, or added a 1 or 2 tasks per se. So
Right.
it is important that doesn't define your role, but it doesn't refine your role. You know what your role is, and you know how your different responsibilities you have, and you know what you can take on in a season from what you can't take on.
Yeah. And I really love that the task versus the role kind of a vibe. I mean, tasks flow from the role, but it doesn't define the role. I love that because I'll also be straight up. When I was going through depression, like Brian took on a lot of the household things. After we had that conversation, like he did observe that certain things weren't being done because literally I was barely getting out of bed. I was barely cleaning. I was barely doing anything. And initially, honestly, I didn't even recognize it was depression. But he observed it, and even before we defined what it was, he said, "All right, cool. Let me take this on and stuff like that because clearly you're going through a thing, right?" And I mean, and that was a season, and it didn't make the season wonderful to go through, because I mean, especially for the fact that I was watching him doing some of the stuff, I felt awkward, especially for the fact that I was home. I could have technically done the stuff, but the truth is, you'll never fully understand depression until you go through it yourself, or someone close to you who has gone through it, where you see the things around you, and you literally, it's like you're not functioning really, and that happened, and so he stood and took on some of those things and stuff so that I could go through my process, and I'm really grateful for that. And so just because he is the head of the household and stuff like that, as a leader, as a genuine leader, he has literally held this household together, and I have felt very supported in terms of just him holding the household together in the various seasons. And I appreciate being able to let my guard down as a woman, to not always have to be the thing holding everything together, and that was something that we navigated, through our marriage and stuff. And I think anybody else who is in marriage, or thinking of marriage and stuff like that, like it's important to be willing to go through the ebbs and flows and navigate that together. A boss of mine, and I always mention this almost yearly, a boss of mine in the past said that we should always, when we're looking for a partner, we should look for someone who's elastic, right? And that elasticity means that that's somebody who can work with you and grow with you through all the different seasons, so they can stretch with you or be stretched alongside you, and eventually you guys grow together and build a legacy together. And I can safely say that that's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah. So that's lesson number 3, guys. Yeah. Understanding the roles in your marriage. Yeah. And I hope as I said, this is what we believe.
Yeah.
This is what we do. This is what we've been doing.
Yeah.
And I hope it helps you in any way. So yeah, see you on lesson 4.
Bye, guys.
All right.